Welcome to Karibu Anawim's program, 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk, where we explore topics related to living with a facial disfigurement. This program is for you, your loved ones, for educational purposes and professionals who would like to know more about living with facial disfigurement. Our presenters have lived experience, research background, or work with people living with facial disfigurement. It's important to begin the conversation with terminology that society understands and is clear. We use the word disfigurement as it is the medical and legal terminology. We recognise you may identify with other words such as visible difference or with your own diagnosis. Let's see where the conversation goes. So pull up a seat, grab a cuppa, and let's chat around the table with Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk.
Hi guys and welcome. I'm in a spirit, right? I'm not quite sure whether or not I'm in the Christmas spirit or whether or not I'm wishing that I was at a beach right now. But nevertheless, what a wonderful celebration of the year. I may or may not put these back down. I can look over the top of them, but they are fairly fun things to have. Oh, and I've got my Christmas decorations too. Well, shall we get on with our episode today, our second last for the year? Last week we talked about or celebrated that living with a facial disfigurement should not and does not limit who we can be. And this week we are going to recap on what we've talked about in August, September, October and November. Shall we get going? Oh dear me, these like to fall off my nose. So, anytime I want to put my head down. So, what did we learn? I think I got to take them off. Oh, hang on, readjust. Yes, it's a bit bright out without the glasses on. Forms of self-disclosure we talked about in August. You know, why should I disclose? Types of non-disclosure, types of self-disclosure, non-disclosure versus self-disclosure, pros and cons. Can you remember 2 types of non-disclosure? That's right. Avoidance was one, telling no one and avoiding all situations and places. And the second one that we talked about, amongst others, is concealment, the efforts to try and hide and minimize your facial difference. For example, using makeup, growing a fringe, all these sort of things. Wearing glasses, I'll put them back on just for fun. Can you recall 2 types of self-disclosure? I must look like a dag. Australian colloquialism for very silly daggers. Selective disclosure, choosing who you can disclose to certain people but not others. And indiscriminate disclosure, being open to telling everyone about your facial disfigurement, asking questions, answering questions, and having others disclose about facial disfigurement. Can you answer why we would use the different forms and why? All this is addressed during the month of August. So go and find them, guys. Go and find it. It's out there. In September, oh no, I've got to get it out. It's going back down my nose. In September, we talked about the power of story and creating your own story. We looked at what is a story, writing your own story, and to practice. Yeah. This was a fun month where I got to I invited Tabitha on because she was very cheeky. She got some very clever ideas to share with her facial disfigurement. Thanks, Tab. And then I really got to teach here. I really got to draw on my experience of being a professional writer and editor there. And remember to have several scripts, tweak them as needed, and rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse. Or practice makes better, never perfect. Remember that. In October, we talked about common issues out and about in public. Am I being stared at or what? Probably. Really? You want to avoid me? Avoidance. Yeah, people do avoid us. I don't know why. Would you know why? Dealing with isolation. Yeah, that sucks, but something that we do face, regardless of whether or not we want to or not. And in November, we talked about the importance of educating others, importance of educating family members, our community, a strategy for us, and educating our school systems. Should it be our job to educate others? No, not really. But there are pitfalls as well as excellent reasons why we ought to, or maybe not. Should we always self-disclose and educate? Oh, only you can decide that. However, I ask you, how do you feel if you don't disclose? What's the impact on how you think about yourself, your self-perception and your self-confidence? I wonder if you perhaps learnt how to and did some baby steps on learning how to self-disclose, maybe not indiscriminately, but you can choose to self-disclose. What difference that would may make to your self-esteem or your self-worth or just in general. Do we need to educate our family? Yep. Do we really need to educate our schools? You betcha, because without education, nothing changes. And, oh gosh, you could feel that, couldn't you? Through the things. Oh dear, oh, better calm it down a bit because that was a bit passionate. I was a bit passionate there, wasn't I? And remember too that it's okay not to be okay. And lastly, to practice being kind to yourself and your family, especially the week before, or what would it be? I'm not quite sure. A few days before Christmas? 10 days or 10 days out from Christmas? Please remember some breathing techniques like we've practiced, like the 4-7-8 breath, or for kids, the bumblebee breathing, pretending to be a bumblebee and sniffing the flower really hard and then holding for a second or two and then exhaling using a silly hum like that. You can continue or pick up your craft and hobbies that you've put aside because you've been busy throughout the year. Remember to exercise and use our support services if you need to. Next week is our final one for the year, and we are going to celebrate you and what we have done together for the last year. And so that is the end of our session today. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for those who have joined us later. And it is now time to go. See you for the final time next week, same time, same channel, same bet place.
By golly gosh, it's the end of Caribou Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk, and that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember that all information given during this episode is for general application only. If you have any specific medical issues, as always, consult with your medical practitioner. Like, subscribe and share on whatever platform you find us on. For more information, please connect with Karibu Anawim on our website at karibuanawim.com or email us at inquiries@karibuanawim.com.